This is the Nuclear Option Podcast with Chris and Aziza Butler, the podcast for those who dare to believe in the power of the nuclear family.
In a time where it's harder than ever to build a family, we want to encourage you to be proud of your family. Invest in your family because our families carry the most promising solutions for the problems in our world. Whoop, whoop. Well, hello, guys. Greetings. Welcome to the Nuclear Option Podcast, where we discuss the politics, the practice, and the promise of family.
From our home to yours, we are inviting you into a conversation about the family, not just as a private institution, but as a public good. We want to remind you, if you are listening to this podcast on any podcast platform, we really need you to give us a good review. And then share your favorite episode with somebody who you think would benefit from this. And if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel and share that as well.
Ooh, all right. Well, how are you doing today, my love?
I'm doing pretty well. Yeah. The days keep coming.
Yes, they do.
How are you doing?
I'm really great. I think it's
Yes,
been
you
a
are.
really great day. I'm so glad that we get to come together and do this. We didn't get to have a lot of conversation about what we're going to talk about today.
We did
So
not.
I guess we're going to all learn today.
But we have some things to talk about.
Yes, we do. So let's jump into it. So we first talk about, as we do, guys, we talk about the politics. If this is your first time hearing this show,
Yes.
we are going to talk about three different things. So the politics. Love, you have something you want to bring up, right?
Well, we have a topic to talk about, and it is SNAP. Some of you may know, whenever this actually hits your podcast player, this may have moved along, but we had a government shutdown, the longest government shutdown in the history of the American government. So
Wowzers.
happy to 50th, almost. And one of the things that I think started to break the dam, I guess, when it comes to the shutdown is the fact that SNAP benefits didn't go out in November. So if you don't know what SNAP is,
Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. It was actually started by, I think it first started like there was a surplus of like grains or whatever, like corn or something, and people couldn't afford to buy it. And so meanwhile, the farmers had to like throw these things out. So they're like, what about if we give the people money to buy it? That way the food isn't wasted, the farmers get, but whatever. That was the initial kind of idea for the SNAP. When it first started back in like 19, I don't know.
That's very interesting.
50 or something, 60 maybe. I'm not sure. We should fact check that.
We should fact check that. Don't you fact check? No, you can.
Yes.
And if you find out the real thing, just let us know, because we're telling you that we think that's about it.
Right.
But that's the story, right? Like that's the narrative, which is maybe the thing that I want to talk about, because there are plenty of people and plenty of places who can opine about the government shutdown, which I'm happy to do at another time. If you want to hear me opine about the government shutdown, send me a direct message and I'll maybe send you a voice memo or something where I'll just go crazy on a monologue. But I wanted to actually talk about that component of the program, which we said we didn't talk about this before. And I didn't even know that fact that you just shared. Because the thing that I wanted to talk about is just raising the question, is SNAP like the most pro-family policy that we could have in terms of food and that kind of assistance? Because I think, one, you want some kind of social safety net. You don't want people going hungry in the richest nation in the world. That's crazy. But is SNAP the best way to do it? And one of the things that I think about is all these different ways that government will design programs that basically give tax dollars to
corporations,
to low-income people.
Yeah.
Specifically so that they can give it to corporations. And usually like specific corporations for a specific purpose. It's like, we're not going to give this directly to you. We're going to give it to somebody else. But the only thing they can do with it is give it to you.
Right.
And so I think about, 40 million people on SNAP, and depending on that particular program, are there other ways? Like, is there some vision of a basic income structure? We had the extended child tax credit for a minute in the COVID times. There are different ways to think about how do you help sustain families in ways that are more centered on the family and not getting money to specific, sort of industries.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about that. It's really interesting that that's actually how the thing started, was actually supplement industry. So that's interesting to think about.
Yeah.
It's like the goal of it seems to be to supplement industry more than
Exactly. Than
people.
families, right? Absolutely. What were the numbers? How much does it cost to fund SNAP for 1 month? Isn't it like nine?
It was
Is
like
it like $9
$9
billion?
billion,
Yeah,
something like
that's a
that.
lot of money.
Because there was a court case, and the judge was saying that the administration was going to have to pay it, and they were like, "We're going to do half," and all that stuff. So I did see that number. Again, this is the kind of thing where it's like, if that number is a little bit off, we'll fact check it. If you got the fact, send it to us. We'll say it on the podcast. But I think it's right in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Of $8 or $9 billion.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
That's a lot of money. Then I think what's, for these corporations that it goes to aren't these corporations like, I feel like there's a lot of missed checks there. I'm a mother. We both shop. I was going to say I do shopping, but you do a lot of our grocery shopping too.
Grocery shopping.
You do, but we've seen such a huge increase in the price of basic stuff, like basic bag of sugar, like basic box of crackers or something. And it's almost as if someone does get, $100 off their groceries that month because they have a SNAP, benefit. But if it's increasing by $100 to have it in the first place, like what is actually happening? So
yeah, and I will say, like, cards on the table. Like, I am, I would describe myself as like a free market capitalist. Like, I'm for it, but I also think that unchecked capitalism is not productive, and is not particularly pro-family. Like, I think one of the roles that government can play, and I don't want to sit here today and prescribe different policies, even though, again, if you want to send me a direct message, I'll give you a monologue about pretty specific policies.
Go all in, baby.
But I think that one of the things that government wants to do in general is to be a referee, an umpire, calling balls and strikes, and making sure that the overall values of family and community are respected in the economy.
Yeah.
And sometimes we miss that. And I think this little moment of just saying for 15 days of no SNAP benefits and the crisis that it rolls out suggests to me that maybe this program is not putting enough real power in the hands of families.
That's
maybe
so good, love.
Something else. Much lighter topic we have in the
we do. We
practice.
actually have a very light topic for practice. So we'll move on to the practice section. I feel like that's such a perfect segue. It's like, let's just talk about something really light. And literally, this is very light. So
but it's actually really serious.
It is. It's very serious too.
But like,
so how about a hug? Yay. No, seriously, that's what we're going to talk about for the practice is hugging. When it comes to hugging, there are so many benefits to a hug. It like balances out like hormones and like brings down helps moods, and it just has so many huge impacts to our body systems. Like it's so many. Even I think I saw the study was even the newborn baby, they are failing to thrive if they're just being held for a certain amount of time.
Start to pick up.
Yeah, they start to immensely recover in huge ways. So sometimes they'll just have people just to come and hold babies, just to help, babies that are
baby holder.
Yeah, just like a baby holder. Yeah, because just literally like the
so
physical touch of having someone like right there.
I always learn so much talking to my wife, by the way.
Oh, you're so sweet, my love. So I want to just chat with you guys about hugging, because it has so many benefits, and they specifically put out that a hug after 20 seconds is where the benefits start to pick up.
So the hug that we just had actually didn't have the benefits.
You're right, it didn't even matter.
It had more impact on my glasses.
But the hugs we had all day and this morning, we had a great hugs. So those are like when you go longer than 20 seconds is where you get the benefit of. And so if it has all these great benefits, that means we should be receiving and giving hugs much more frequently. Yeah. But then I was thinking about like,
we can get in a hug longer than 20 seconds.
It's so awkward. Like if you go to work and you like see your boss or your coworker, you guys, like bring it in, you get like maybe at the most 10 seconds, right? But
that's still a long.
And that's a lot, right? Exactly. And you might not even really hug because it's not a professional thing to do. Where else can you go? Church. You can go to church and get a hug.
Yeah, but I can tell you as a pastor, if I see somebody hugging
Right.
not in family, and you're like hugging for more than 20 seconds.
It gets weird, right?
Yeah, I'm like, what's happening here? Like,
Yeah.
is there something going on?
Yeah, and even just like a friend, if you're playing at the park or something, you see a friend, oh hi, like you don't get a longer,
Yeah.
hug typically.
No,
But
you might have
also they
some
say
friends,
that's
like
true.
a few friends who can hug you for
The-
longer than 20 seconds.
For sure. But also it's saying every day you need to have a hug for at least 20 seconds. And I think it's not just one hug. You want to do like 6 or 7, 8 hugs a day that are longer than 20 seconds. Where else can you get those benefits from every day? Then drum roll, please.
We can get like a real drum roll sound because this is the second episode where I did a terrible drum roll.
That's right. Okay, we'll get rid of the drum roll. But longer than 20 seconds, it's in the most natural place to do that is with your family, with the people in your household. And so,
and especially I think about for boys, because we have a lot of boys,
we do.
boys.
5 sons.
Girls hug
They do
more readily and probably a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Which is still weird to me. But they certainly, like, your daughter might be more likely to get like a hug from like a friend or a mentor than a son. So it's even more important.
Boys and sons don't get as many hugs, or grown men.
Or grown men. Because my friends definitely don't hug me for 20 seconds.
Even though maybe they'll hear this and then I'll be like,
if any of my friends are listening to this podcast,
get your
don't
hugs.
hug me for 20 seconds.
But it's okay because I hug you all the time for at least 20 seconds. Our kids hug you. And that's
maybe we need
to
break down those barriers. Maybe we need to have like bro hugs, 20-second bro hugs, like a whole campaign.
No, we just go home.
Get over here.
Everybody go home and get a hug. But literally, it just doesn't make sense anywhere outside of your household. And so here we are, another thing that we can put into practice that originates and stems from households and homes, and just in your nuclear family is a great place to get a hug without strings attached, without it seeming weird at all, without, So just want to encourage you guys. I know some people grow up in like families where they're like hugging was not like a thing. We didn't do that very often. I feel like when we were kids, I don't feel like we were as affectionate when we were younger. But then I remember a point my mom just started being just way more like hugging. She's like,
really?
"Oh, give me a hug." Yeah, I know. She's such a hugger now. I know. It was so weird. I feel like shifted somewhere. Maybe she heard some kind of thing. She's a psychology
this podcast.
like major. She heard this 30 years ago. Yeah, but and my dad too, even to this day, he just gave long hugs all the time. But it wasn't when we were younger. It was once we became like a little older. Or at least I was a little older. So maybe my other siblings
I think that's
younger.
important to raise, because just because you're in a nuclear family doesn't mean that you're getting hugs. Because sometimes you just don't. I mean, I feel like I don't want to say if I grew up with hugs. I feel like not, but
like you don't remember,
or my siblings can let me know if I'm wrong about that. But I feel like we didn't have like a whole lot of physical affection.
Mm-hmm.
We had wrestling. We had more than 20-second hit block.
Well, honestly, when we were recording, I was like, "Wow, it's so cool that you and your brothers like hug. That's so great." I don't think I'd ever seen my brothers hug before.
Especially my brothers that are like closest to me in age.
Mm-hmm.
That's because we have.
But you want to do 20-second hugs. But
Joy and I might have 20-second hugs.
That's true, for sure. Even now, that's so great. But see, nuclear families, that's great.
That's just Dr. Joseph. He's an amazing brother.
He's a great brother.
Amazing human being.
He gives me 20-second hugs too. I love it.
He probably knows the research too.
That's true. He's a sociologist. Anywho, but whatever you are and however your family structure is, guys, implement hugs. It will be so helpful, not only for you, also for the person that you're hugging, not just for your kids, but for you, not just for your spouse or your sibling, but for you. It's a mutual benefit. It improves health and relationships and just kind of mental, emotional, all of it. It's really, really helpful. So guys, don't sleep on these hugs, but let's go 21 seconds. Everybody
21 seconds,
21
6
seconds.
times a day.
Right. But you also can't count. That kind of, it gets weird if you count. Just enjoy it. Just embrace it. Enjoy it. Take some deep breaths and just, because I think what it is that it's that up to 20 seconds is where you
the barrier.
The barrier of it. You just gotta your shoulders start to relax a little bit. You've taken a couple breaths by the time 20 seconds comes in.
Somebody love breathing in your ear.
Yeah. It's not breathing in your ear, love. But whatever it is, it's just like it's like where you just begin to like let the guards down and you can just kind of just relax. Like okay, I'm taking this, I'm receiving this. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. And if you're listening to this and you feel like it's a little bit weird, Because you might be like me, because I don't necessarily go all in on like soft stuff all the time.
You don't.
But I'm urging us to try it out. If you listen to this,
Yay.
try hugs.
Yes,
Hugs are
yes.
great. Even sometimes when you hug me and I'm like, don't hug me because I don't want to be all squishy right now.
I don't want to be squishy. But then you give into it and then you're like, wow, yes, this is great. Let my stress float away. Also, I want to say I've done this for our kids, is that I've noticed like if they've been like, if they're like in a mood or they have a toot or if they're like sad or something, like if you just, and I think I probably have learned this from you because I feel like there's been times where I was maybe feeling like just a little teary or something. And maybe I'm looking for you to say something that you want. You'll just like hug me. And then I'm like, would you the same thing? But then I'll take that like, that actually, I feel great now. But anyway, I've done that with the kids. You know, I don't have anything to say, but let me just give you a hug. Or maybe I do have something to say, but hug, we'll say it better. And so it can just fix a lot of great things. But yeah, those extended hugs, they're such a blessing. But yes, let's put into practice. Woohoo.
So the last thing that we talk about is the promise of family.
Yes.
And when we talk about the promise of family, we're really trying to look at how just like living in nuclear family is sort of contributive to the larger society.
Right.
So there's this research paper that comes out of the Harvard Kennedy School. So these are like the smarty pants. And they did some pretty clever research. So this research project, they looked at over 1,000 counties, like 1,300 counties across the United States. And they looked longitudinally at children who were born in the county, in each of these counties, where they started off economically, and then where they end up economically as adults. So this is a longitudinal study. And what they were looking for, they were exploring questions around economic mobility. So how far ahead economically does a kid end up as an adult than the situation that they were in when they were born? What they discovered is that by far, the characteristics of each county that is most predictive of upward mobility was actually the concentration of nuclear family units. So the more families are in the county, the more predictive that is, the more likely it is that the children who are born in that county end up and better off economically as adults. And so and this is, controlling for all of the factors. So more than the actual economic status of that county, like where does that county land in terms of like rich counties to poor counties, more than the racial makeup of the county, more than any of the factors in the county. There was the concentration of nuclear families in that county that were most predictive.
Yeah.
And
what was the likelihood? Is that like a statistic?
Yeah, so they have like these scores, and I did not go to the Harvard Kennedy School, and so I won't try to like explain it in great detail, but they were able to score the impact from 0 to 1, and the family density was 0.5, so it was half of the impact. There's actually this quote, the combined direct and indirect relationship between families and mobility is 0.5, by far the largest and most robust relationship observed. And one of the things that they that you can see in this research that I thought was really interesting is there's been a lot of thought about friendship in terms of social mobility. The thought being that if you can be friends with somebody of a higher economic status, then your kid might be more likely to be upwardly mobile. This longitudinal research, though, suggests that maybe those cross-class friendships are actually a result of the beginnings of the mobility, more than like a cause of that mobility. And because they saw more of a connectivity between a kid being in a nuclear family, a two-parent home, that child is more likely to form these cross-class friendships.
I see.
Okay. And that gets into, we probably want to talk about this on another episode too, because a huge part of this research talked about the character formation that's happening inside of these families as being one of the big components that they see as contributing to this upward mobility. It's important to note that this is not just the children in those nuclear families. This is a county with a concentration of nuclear families, and that mobility number is actually across the county. So that's not just the kids who are in a particular family structure. It's actually spilling over. Yeah, because it is making the school system better. It's making the neighborhood safer. It is making it easier to have these cross-class friendships. Yeah. And so this dynamic is actually happening across the county, not just in those particular households. And so it's a very interesting study. As a big believer in family, I'm not surprised.
Right, exactly. But it is still like, wow.
It's really something to find in the research.
That is incredible. Yeah. I think it's so cool how it just has like ripples, like a ripple wave of like blessing to everybody around it. I think that's huge, you guys. So I think it's so important to see, like you just never know what God will do when you walk out this thing that he mandated and started since the beginning, since creation. Like he set this institution in place, the nuclear family, and you never know how just kind of the ripple effects of what it would do. And then not just across, in your generation, but even generations to come, because you see what it's saying is like the kids that were born in a kind of a low income state, they have the opportunity to be able to, by the time they're adult and having their children, they already in that one generation, they've been able to experience this mobility, and they potentially can radically transform even their children's things. That is like generational impacts. Your thing is setting your kids up. What does the Bible say? A righteous man leaves an inheritance even for his children's children. So right now, as men and women of God, you can leave your grandchildren and great grandchildren a service by living your nuclear family life right now. So, so beautiful. That's great. I love that. Thank you for bringing that out, love. Anything else you want to add to that?
I think just one more time, lifting up the formative portion of this, right? Like, because what the research is finding is that there is this sort of formative reality, this character development that's taking place inside of these nuclear family situations. And paper actually calls on people of any kind of influence just to celebrate and hold up this idea of like forming families, which we talked about that in a previous episode.
And we talk about that in every episode.
Yeah, I will say that for other times, but it's something that should be celebrated and not denigrated.
I love it
because it impacts everybody.
It does.
It has ripple impact.
Community, in the community. And generations on down. Beautiful. I love it. This was great. Yay. Yes, indeed. All right, you guys. Well, keep loving each other.
Hold on to truth.
And harness your power. All right, see you guys next time.